when you go in there, there's a separate section. It's not even roped off. It's just people right there. And they say, no, you can't come over here without credentials. So I waited till there was this one guy there. He looked pretty chill. I said, listen, it's not going to hurt you to let me in. I will give you $20 to let me in. He thought about it for a second. Nobody else was around. He let me in. And I said, I still don't have nothing around my neck. I know that once I get in here, I got to have a plan. So once I seen, I'll never forget, Sam Darnold of the New York Jets was about to be interviewed. And it's a slew of journalists around him about to question him. I ran over there. I pulled my phone out. I started making a video, recording while everybody else was recording. You know, I'm dressed the part, so nobody's really thinking about me. And I get some footage to put on my Twitter and stuff. And then I'm taking the rest of the footage to write an article.
When I was the social media manager at Fox Sports 1340, based out of Hopewell, Virginia, one of the things I enjoyed doing was giving people an opportunity to get better at their craft. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian H. Waters. Welcome to this episode of Breaking Through the Glass Ceiling. On this week, I speak with Maliik Obee. Maliik is the current beat writer for the XFL's DC Defenders. I was blessed to speak to him right after their inaugural week 1, where the Defenders won the game. But it's cool because we talked about his career leading to this moment becoming an XFL beat writer. But along with that, he provides a lot of gems. So for the people out there who want to be sports writers, especially football writers, sit back and listen. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my interview with Maliik Obee. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, I have the one, the only Maliik Obee on the line. Maliik, what's good, brother?
What's up, man? I am happy to be on and just talk about, the things that I've been going through and the things that my trials and tribulations to get where I'm at and to get way further than this.
Yeah, well, let's get right into it, man. First and foremost, how are you? I should say before we get into it.
I am doing good right now. I'm just in a good space right now. You know, just get the, just every opportunity I get to try to, make another stride. I'm just happy to do it. So I'm really good.
Yeah. Well, right now you serve as the DC Defenders beat writer. That is for the reemerging XFL. How is that so far?
Oh, man, it's great. Like, you know, just a backstory. It's just like I've always wanted to be a beat writer. I've always wanted to be that guy that just, every week when you go to the facility, you start, people start knowing your face, knowing your name. The players know your face, know your name, your tendencies, the things you like to ask, stuff like that. You building that rapport and stuff. And this is another step closer to the dream. So it's just like, Saturday was a great experience, just walking in that stadium and just seeing like ambiance. I mean, it was a sold out crowd, 17,000. And the great thing about it is it's a fresh start. This is fresh. So it's like, you really hope this lasts because it's like, you get to be able to get in from the ground floor is an amazing thing. It's like so much money is invested in this that so many people want this to go well. So it's like year one players in this league, not in general, but just year one players in this league. Fresh league, fresh team, fresh everything. This is not a team from the last, iteration of the XFL. Everything is brand new. So it's just like, man, this is a chance to carve out my niche. This is the chance to build my network and do everything. So I'm just literally meeting people and talking to them. You never know who you're talking to. And then I've just been reaching out to players for a while. I got to talk to Cardell Jones, the quarterback, a a couple months ago at the Icebreaker. They had a little welcoming event at Penn Social in DC. So just like Hamilton as well, just like talking to anybody and everybody I could, like, hey, I'm gonna cover the team whether or not I got a press pass or not. You're gonna see my face. I just want you to remember my face because I'm gonna find a way to talk to you. I'm gonna find a way to get in the door. So this is great, man.
I'm glad you brought that up because you said you are going to cover the team, whether you have a press pass or not. Talk about, and for our young journalists out there, we'll get into your career, but for you, as we record this, we're coming off of the inaugural week of the XFL. So it's like I'm blessed that you fit me in your busy schedule because I know with everything going on, it's a lot. So I'm happy. But I want you to talk to the young journalists out there about the importance of covering a team if this is what you want to do, even if you don't have a press pass. What are some ways that they can cover teams if they don't have a press pass?
Well, let me tell you something. I think that so many people feel like that's when they made it, or that's a sign that they're making progression is getting a press pass. And one thing I learned from my time at Morgan, Dean Wickham, Professor Jones, Professor Kent, Professor Robinson, et cetera, is you got to make your own opportunities. And I remember I was telling Professor Kent when I wanted to go to the combine, and he's like, listen, everything that I don't know if how many listeners on here know Professor Milton Kent. He
Real
covered.
quick, Milton Kent, professor at the illustrious Morgan State University School of Global
Yes, sir.
Journalism. He's a good mentor of mine. One of the former writers of the Baltimore Sun newspaper right here in Baltimore, Maryland. Malik, he used to get on me because he was my advisor. I never had the honor of taking one of his classes, but he used to get on me because I would tell him that for me to be academically advised by the same man who, when I was 10, 11 years old, wanting to get into sports and wanting to write, I would read his content and see his name in the paper. Shout out to the real Dwayne Allen, who said he took Professor Kent's piece when he wrote on Michael Jordan when Jordan played for the Wizards and I believe dropped like 40 points. He said he took the paper to school to have him sign it. So we definitely got to give a big props to Professor Kent.
Definitely, 100%. And I want to just give a little more background on that. So I actually had two privileges to take Professor Kent. The first time I didn't take advantage of it. This was before I had dropped out of Morgan. I had some family issues I had to drop out, and those issues were getting to me to the point where I really stopped going to class. And I wasn't going to class. I came one day, and he said, "If you're not gonna take this serious, don't come back." And we weren't really. I didn't have a relationship with him at all. He just said that to me. And when I left, I came back. I just thought about it because so many other professors didn't even care to say that to me, And I just said, man, then I really started to learn who he was and what he did because he doesn't talk about stuff like that unless it's pertinent to what he's teaching. So I was like, man, I got to really stay under this guy. Let me just ask him questions. Let me just, And Professor Kent is a very straightforward man. So when he says stuff, he means it. He says it with a purpose. So, everything he would say, I would listen to it, even if it hurt my feelings at the moment. It's just like I know it's for the better, So it's like, with that being said, I told him, I said, Presky, I want to go out to the combine. I want to get a press pass. I want to do this, I want to do that. He said, why don't you just go out there? If you go out there, just worry about making the most of the situation. And I took that as whether or not I get this, I need to go out there and find a way to get to where I want to be and meet the people I want to meet. So with that being said, I took my own refund check. I think at the time I probably didn't even have that much of a refund check. I remember my girl probably gave me some money towards it too. I took a flight out there, got a rental car. I didn't even have money for a hotel. I stayed at a hostel. I went out there first thing in the morning for the combine. I didn't even have a actual, like I said, I didn't have a press pass. So the combine is split into two parts. One is the convention center is where They do all the weigh-ins and all that stuff. And in the stadium is where you see the 40-yard dash and all that. I didn't have access to either one of them. So what I had to do was they had fan access. You have to wake up at like 6 in the morning and go online and get these fan passes to just be in the arena. I mean, in the stadium. So I'm up at like 5:30 getting fan passes. I see somebody walk out across the stadium that's like a coach, an agent, or whoever. I run across the stadium and try to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, I'm looking for the player exit where they're meeting with their agent, and they literally walking across the street to the convention center to do press, media, whatever, interviews, whatever. Just trying to get a second with them. Anything I could do. My point is that there's times where I'm at events or there's things going on that I want to have press access to just for the sake of the freedom to go in, go out, a little bit less stress. But there's times you just got to do what you got to do regardless. That's just like if you're a photographer, you don't need a press pass at a concert to take pictures. You go to the front and you take your pictures. You have to nudge, push, whatever you got to do to get to the front to get a good picture of that artist. You got to do it. And that's just how the mentality that you have to develop in this industry is very, very hard. It's very hard. I don't want to talk this whole time. You got a lot of questions, but I just got to give some more perspective. When I came back to school, my whole idea was like, man, time is running out. I got to make the most of this time while I'm here. I only got 2 years left. So in that 2 years, I think I did like 5 internships or something like that. And I had this idea in my head that all of these internships and everything, that once I got out of school in that first 3 to 6 months, I was going to land a job in my dreams. I was probably going to have to move. I was going to have to do this. I was going to be doing this, that, and other. And your world comes crashing down.
Real quick,
very
how
hard
old were
depression.
you?
So when I came back, I was 25. I came back, I was 25. I left when I was 22.
Mm-hmm.
And when I left at 22, I didn't even have enough credits to technically be a junior. I had to go to summer school again at BCCC, and I had to go across town to BCCC, do summer school credits, and then after that I had to go to Morgan, and I finally became a junior and all this stuff. Man, it was a very hard process, and I say that to say, like I said, I was 25, thinking like, man, I gotta hurry up, I gotta get this right, I gotta figure this out. I'm going to Afro, wherever I can get an internship. Even Brian put me on the Fox Sports 1430. Anything I can do to put on my resume. That's the mentality you have to have. And anybody that's listening, you got to understand this. And especially in the field of journalism, especially sports journalism, it's different now. So many people can just start up a Twitter, a blog, or anything. And if you market it right, you can get traction. You can get views. You can get whatever. You can get clicks on your YouTube, whatever. It's not as clear and dry cut as graduating, sending your stuff to a newspaper, and getting a job. Not like that anymore. So you got to go above and beyond in any way possible. So I say that to say, if I didn't have a press pass to the game on Saturday, I would have still been right there, tweeting every play. I would have went down to listen. There's been many a times. As the second year I was at the combine, I got the second year I was at the combine. I was still at Morgan. Dwayne Wickham paid for me to go. I got access to the 40-yard dash and all of the events. I didn't have access to the press in the convention center to interview and stuff. So when you go in there, there's a separate section. It's not even roped off. It's just people right there, and they say, no, you can't come over here without credentials. So I waited till there was this one guy there. He looked pretty chill. I said, listen, it's not going to hurt you to let me in. I will give you $20 to let me in. He thought about it for a second. Nobody else was around. He let me in. And I said, I still don't have nothing around my neck. I know that once I get in here, I got to have a plan. So once I'll never forget, Sam Darnold of the New York Jets was about to be interviewed. And it's a slew of journalists around him about to question him. I ran over there. I pulled my phone out. I started making a video, recording while everybody else was recording. I'm dressed the part, so nobody's really thinking about me. And I get some footage to put on my Twitter and stuff. And then I'm taking the rest of the footage to write an article. You know what I'm saying? And maybe an hour and a half passes, I'm interviewing players and stuff. I think I was interviewing, man, I can't even remember which player I was interviewing. The guy didn't even make it to He didn't even get drafted, right? But somebody comes and said, "Sir, where's your pass?" I said, "Oh, I think I might have put it in the car." And they said, "You're gonna have to go get it." So at that point, I had already interviewed about 10 players. I got stuff, to put together for an article at Morgan. I got stuff that I'm sending to places that I'm freelancing for. I got stuff to send to the Afro. I've accomplished what I need to accomplish that day. Now that $20 was going to go towards gas for the rental and probably some food at Country Kitchen, but I separated myself from the people that was just there in the fan access area and the place that I needed to be. And I got to talk to a couple people. I got cards. It's really all about hustle. It's really all about hustle. And I say that to say that I feel like I've accomplished a lot, but I've accomplished, I'm not where I want to be, but I've accomplished a lot because of the fact that I've taken some chances.
Wow. So, folks, like Malik said, we met, as I said in the opening, we met where you came to Fox Sports 1340. And one of the things, I don't know if I ever got a chance to tell you this, but one of the things that made me excited about bringing you on, because we just met through a simple phone call after you saw, like, we were looking for interns. But when we talked, I could tell you had that hustle in you. And, one of the things is, I've always followed your social media. I know when I need a legit football source, a legit football mindset when it comes to anything, whether it's a player evaluation, let it be XFL or NFL, I know you're the guy. How have you
I
been
appreciate
able?
that.
No problem, man. How has social media? How have you been able to do that? Building up your social media, because it's not just me. You get a lot of engagements. What's been sort of the life hack? Because you've been dropping a lot of life hacks here. For people out there, you said hustle, dress the part, make sure you look like you belong there, essentially, and do the work. How have you been able to do that? Also, we see what you're doing in the field. How have you been able to do that from your phone or from the keyboard to get all your followers to buy in?
All right. So for me to answer that, I got to tell you, because you asked me about building social media presence. So for me to say that, to put that in a nutshell, I got to start by saying this. You got when we were at Morgan and I decided I wanted to be a sports journalist, I had a Twitter. My Twitter was a regular person's Twitter. I was talking about a whole lot of nonsense, just daily basis stuff, right? And what happened was Professor Kent, another Professor Kent story, he told us, hey, we need professional Twitters, your first and your last name, this and that and the other. You're going to have a blog, a sports blog or whatever it is, music, whatever, and you're going to post it on Twitter, and you're going to get people to engage. So what happened with that is, long story short, I made a Twitter with my name, Obi-Wan. I didn't want to just put Maliik Obee. So I said, Obi-Wan, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm going to take that name. That's going to be my name. And I put that name up there. And I said, okay, I'm gonna take this, right? My first post was article, a little blog that I put together about the Raiders, right? So I said, you know what? I'm a write about the Raiders. This is my very first blog piece for Professor Kent's class. I love the Raiders, and I said, I'm gonna write about the Raiders. I put all the Raiders hashtags like he told me, Raiders, Raider Nation and stuff. And literally about 6 hours later, I don't even remember what it was. I wish I could, just as a starting point to see how far I've come as a writer. I don't even remember which player it was about or what the particular piece was about. But a guy named Nick Jeltness, I'm going to send him this interview. I'm going to send him this podcast episode. A guy named Nick Jeltness. Nick runs he ran a podcast called Just Blog Baby about the Raiders. And he hit me up and said, hey, I found this piece. I thought it was really good. I just want to know, would you like to write for us about the Raiders? I'm thinking, what? I'm getting a job on the first day. I know it's not paid, but I don't care. I'm getting a job on the first day. Oh yeah, I'm doing this. I'm talking about the Raiders all day on Twitter now. You know what I'm saying? So that was the starting point for me with that Twitter. That was the starting point of me saying, okay, I need to take this serious. I need headshots. I need to start holding myself accountable to a higher standard. I need to start presenting myself in a different way. But I said to myself is that at that day 4, I'm not going to be a robot. I'm going to take everything I've learned through life and at Morgan. about being a black man, a black journalist. And this is man, so many points are come back to Professor Kent. We had a moment in class. I don't even know what it was about. He asked a really good question, and he didn't even say what his answer would be. He asked us, "Are you a black journalist or a journalist that's black?" And everybody had an opinion. Everybody had something to say. And I just, I'm a talkative guy. I just sat there and thought for a second. I was like, damn, what do I want to be? And I just said, you know what? I want to be a black journalist. I want to be looked at as a man. I want to be looked at as somebody that's going to have a voice, an educated opinion on my people, with my experiences and my outlook and intellect. I'm going to represent Black America in a way that the next Maliik Obee or whoever can respect my mind and not be afraid to be themselves. So I say all that to say I try to run my social media in a way that I'm not afraid to lose a follower for standing up for what I believe in, but I understand that it's a certain level of professionalism and things that people expect. This is your resume. This is 100% your resume. If you can't look at it like your resume, make a burner account. You know what I'm saying? Make another account where you can be as wild or whatever it is you want. You gotta set some type of limit. So I've got to the point now where it's like I got almost 6,000 real followers, and that's through engagement. You can't look at yourself. You don't have to follow everybody back, but you got to look at it as if people come to you. And now, especially with the ratings and stuff, the further I get, the more people actually are confident in what I say and what I believe in, and my opinion might sway their opinion. So not only with that do I have to try to be factual or not try to be toxic or biased, but I need to, look at myself at a higher standard. And some people feel different ways. Some people take the follower stuff and the social media presence really serious. I look at it as another person that believes in what I do and looks at the work I do as hard work, and there's going to be another person that believes into me until the right person believes in me to put me in a position to be where I want to be. So with that being said, I look at it like I got I'm going to expand on this point about just doing whatever you have to do to build you. But I look at it as these every individual that follows me, you got to look at it like this. For every person that's following you, it's two people that's watching you. That person that follows you and the person that hasn't clicked the button yet. You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching. And I feel like I've got a lot of opportunities through people that I didn't know were watching in life. Not just journalism, but especially in journalism, but in life. You never know who's watching. So that's how you got to look at it. If somebody said to you today, Brian, I'm looking for a guy that can talk football in and out. He can write. He can do everything. You don't say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna send you his number." You say his Twitter name is OBEE1NE. If that person go to my page and ain't nothing on there about football, that's the same thing as them looking at my resume and saying I'm not qualified. They want to see exactly what somebody's telling them. So I talk about music. I talk about all that stuff because I talk about that's my personality. But this is what you come here for. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what I feel comfortable doing. I go places, man. I go places and I'll meet people, and I think they kind of surprised how serious I take it. I can talk to people about anything, but when it's time to talk about the X's and O's of football, I'm not copying and pasting somebody else's stuff. I really study this stuff, and I want to make this another point. This is the point I really want to make. I played football all my life up till high school. Then in the middle of high school, I just focused on basketball and my grades and stuff like that. And then, but football has always been my passion. And I started coaching high school football as running back coach, D-line coach and stuff for two different schools and all that stuff. The point that I'm making is even with all of that, when I became a writer, I realized how much I didn't know. So I started going to Glazier clinics where the coaches are, and I'm the only person that's a journalist. Everybody else is a coach, a high school coach or whatever. I started taking online, classes and stuff. I started reading books like Pat Kirwan's "Take Your Eye Off the Ball," which tells you how to watch football from a non-casual fan's perspective. I started studying things in a different way so that when I talk to a person like like Matthew Judon or Earl Thomas or somebody like that. I'm not asking on the surface questions. When I talk to, let's say I talk to Richard Sherman, I get an interview with Richard Sherman. Some people are going to ask the surface questions. They're going to ask about growing up in Compton. They're going to ask about going to Stanford, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if I'm talking to him on a football level, I want to ask him, how did you get so good at your recovery speed playing in the cover three when you're not looked at it as a speed corner? And how do you feel about not being looked at as a man corner when you play cover three and after you drop back into your zone, you still got to play that receiver after he comes up 10 yards? These are things that I had to learn. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I knew the basics. We all know the basics. We all know Madden. We all might have played a little high school football, middle school, a boys and girls club and stuff like that. But the X's and O's of it is the difference. You know, I just talked to somebody today. It's a guy at Morgan, and Brian, you know how this goes. When you go to college with somebody, you might dap this guy up for years. You might not even really know his first and last name, or they might not know you on a personal level that other people know you. So it's a guy I'm really cool with. His name is Rico Kennedy. Rico is one of the best tacklers in the FCS, not just Morgan, not just MEAC, a linebacker, outside linebacker. And I didn't even know he played football until I graduated because he was a transfer, and we used to just play basketball hurt in open gym. I didn't know. We talked about basketball, ins and outs of basketball all the time. Just met him and hurt. Never knew he played football. Never seen him with equipment or anything. I came back to Morgan. It was like the MEAC leading tackler, Rico Kennedy. And he followed me on Twitter about 8 months ago. And this is how crazy it was. I didn't know who he was until I seen him take the helmet off, because I would watch Morgan tape, and I'm like, man, they got this guy, Rico Kennedy. You know, he could play. You know, he could come down and run support. He could do this and that and the other. And I seen a picture of him on Twitter, and I said, that's so and so. That was his nickname. I didn't even know his real name, and he didn't know the level of work that I do with football. He said, man, I didn't even know you knew football like that and had such a great understanding of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you never know who's watching. He said he followed me because somebody had told him that I wrote a piece about him. And it's crazy because you get your picture for your article and stuff like that, and you do all this background information like him transferring from Army and all of that. And I just never bothered to look for a picture of his face. I just, I knew what number he played and everything. And it was like, oh man. But that's just crazy. That's just how it works sometimes. So the point is that you just have to, man, you really have to go above and beyond. If this is your craft, you got to take the next step. You got to go above and beyond. At Morgan, especially in the journalism school, they teach us, hey, if you go to Mizzou, if you go to certain schools, you're going to be looked at first because of your resume. So we got to work 3 times harder. So when I feel like I'm in a space and people are talking and talking about what they're going to go to eat or whatever, and I see a player walk past, that player might not be the player that they're waiting for an interview, but that's an interview for me. And then when a player that comes that we are waiting for, and everybody got a camera in their face, I'm trying to ask them something that's completely left field. And I want to share one last story. I went to that meet and greet icebreaker. I found out about it just scouring the internet. I didn't even know about it. DC Defenders didn't have a schedule of events for fans and nothing like that yet. This was a couple of months ago. Just scouring the internet, and I saw that they was doing a meet and greet at Penn Social. I ended up getting a $250 ticket for parking in the wrong space, but it was worth it. So the point of it is they were all over there. Pep Hamilton is the head coach, Cardell Jones, etc. And then they were going to have an open session with fans and the media, like to ask questions. And I'm sitting there thinking, I got a gold mine. I had a question I felt like I knew nobody was going to ask. I wanted the biggest reaction from Pep Hamilton. Pep Hamilton coached at Michigan. He coached in the NFL. But I felt like when I looked at the people there, and I probably was wrong for judging, I looked at the people there and I said, if somebody has a piece of this question, they won't have the whole thing. I knew that Pep Hamilton was quarterback for Howard University. I knew that Pep Hamilton's first coaching job was at Howard University. And I said to myself, he's going to come back here after 20 years. So I asked him, I said, getting your start here in D.C. at Howard University, meeting your wife at Howard University, getting your first coaching job at Howard University, how does it feel to come back and coach the DC Defenders right here in the city that made you. And I also threw in the fact that we were 10 minutes away because Penn Social was right there by Howard or whatever. So, and everybody else was kind of asking questions, and he was, kind of, giving dry answers, and I think he really perked up with that. It was like, okay, well, wow, you really did your research, and that's the reaction I feel like you got to look for every time. Wow, you did your research on that. That's what being a journalist is all about, in my opinion. You get to ask LeBron James a question. I feel like that everybody it's their responsibility to find something about his life in Akron, some stat, some ritual that he has. Why does he wear these socks? Whatever. It's your responsibility to do something to set yourself apart.
Wow, man, that is so dope, man. I mean, I'm sitting here and a lot of times what I love about this show is I'm sitting here asking the questions, but I really get to be in fan mode over my friends to see to listen to your journeys, especially, you. I gotta ask you this question. You brought up something, you brought up Madden. I think you just realized that one, I would never play you, and two, I would never bet money, because if you're doing X's and O's and you've read books, I think you've got the video game down pat where you're not losing.
Well, you know what? That's another. This is a reason. It's always a method to the madness. You always got to think about ways to set yourself apart. Now, I talk football all day long. So, and let me say this: I do lose at Madden sometimes. I don't lose as much as I used to, because I don't lose as much as I used to, but I do lose at Madden sometimes. But I post every couple of days or so. My timeline is literally articles, videos, tweets about football, stats, whatever. So at night or when I'm off, sometimes I'll post my game share from PS4 of me playing Madden, me scoring a touchdown, me getting an interception or whatever. People say, "Oh, play me." Oh yeah, I'll play you. When I get time, I'll definitely play you. You know what I'm saying? And that builds my following, and that makes people say, "Okay, well, he's a personable person." The fact of the matter is, I'm very personable. I don't think I'll ever be in a position where I'm too big for something, especially in the field of journalism, because we don't make enough money to be big-headed people. You know what I'm saying? For one, and two, I just feel like that people will gravitate more towards you when they feel like that you're an approachable person. And it's crazy. I was at the Raiders Redskins game in 2017 at FedEx Field. I didn't have a suit on or anything. I couldn't get a press pass. I just had on, my regular clothes, not just street clothes, but I had a button up and stuff on like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna make the most of this opportunity. When the game starts, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna tweet about the game, I'm gonna write an article later for this blog site I was on. But at the meantime, I'm going to the Raiders tailgate. I'm gonna get some videotape. It's a great representation of the Raiders fan base all the way over here in Landover, Maryland. I got my phone turned in landscape, I'm making a video. I stopped making the video. Somebody taps me on the shoulder and says, "Aren't you Maliik Obee?" And I just said, "What?" and that person was somebody that had followed my articles, and they were Raiders fans that lived in Virginia. And I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that was when I was like, okay, I got to just keep trying to be. I just got to keep being me, because if it was real life out in the open at a restaurant or whatever, a convention or whatever, I just talk to people all the time. So why not on social media? It's not going to hurt me. It just makes me look like a better person. It just makes me look like a more normal person. And a lot of times I feel like that you can learn from people. This person might have 15 followers, but they know more than me. I remember somebody brought up a point, and that's when I really, 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 really started digging deep. When I was at Morgan and I had made a mock draft, and somebody said, "Well, I don't think the Raiders would pick them because this person is not a 3-4 outside linebacker." And everybody has language in their football is all about language. So they didn't even say outside linebacker. They said will. So at the school I coached at, we didn't call the weak side linebacker Will. So I had no idea what they were talking about. So I had to Google it, and that point is that person ended up being somebody that I didn't even know, but that person at the time I didn't know, but that person is a coach at Mike Vick's old high school in Virginia. And he's a Raiders fan. He's a Raiders fan because of guys like Skip Thomas and Gene Upshaw and all those guys from the '70s, the Black Raiders team, the majority Black Raiders team, when they had the first all Black offensive line in the NFL, etc. I didn't know that, but I would have never knew, and I would have never learned anything from him if I thought, oh, he got 15 followers. He ain't talking about nothing, So that's how I look at it. You never know what you can learn from people.
That's true, man. That is absolutely true. You When you talk about what was it like though when you see fans out there? I know for me personally in the wrestling community, the first time I went to a show, and this is shortly after the Wrestling Realm was launched, and having
Mm-hmm.
somebody come up to me and say, "Oh my goodness, you're Brian." At the time, it was Mr. Main Event B Dub, or but they would say, "Oh, you're Mr. Main Event. Oh, you're Brian Waters," and I'm like, "Yeah." What was that moment like, and how often does that happen?
Oh man, so like if I travel to because the Raiders Nation is one of the biggest fan bases in all of sports, and now I've got to the point where I interact with people for years. I mean, I've had this Twitter since 2014, and
Mm-hmm.
then some people I actually meet at events and stuff like that. It's people I've interacted with for years. So like when I say, oh, I'm going to so and so for the Raiders game, or I'm going to this event or that event, and people say, oh, I'm gonna buy you a beer. I'm a or whatever, or just come up to you. It's surreal. It's surreal because I look at it like this. Let's say I'm at a training camp or a pro day or something like that. The focus is usually 99% of the time on the players, and it makes me feel I had to stop and sit back and look at it as like how it is when you you're going to talk to somebody about a job, or you meeting somebody in the field, and you've done all your research on this person. Those people where you say, oh, can I buy you a coffee and just talk to you for a minute, at the NABJ or something like that. I started
Mm-hmm.
looking at it like that. It's the same kind of thing. This person, I'm thinking, okay, well, everybody's here to focus on the players, and this person says, oh, I follow you, I read your stuff, you do a great job, whatever. I'll never forget this dude. I was at I was at a pro day at at Virginia Tech, and this dude comes out there. I mean, a behemoth. This dude was and I'm 6'1". This dude was way big. He had to be like 6'4", 6'5", 300 pounds. Dude comes up to me and says, sticks his hand out. I shook his hand. He says, I'm Gary Woody Woot. I read your stuff about the Raiders. You do a really good job. I'm assistant coach at William and Mary. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I mean, this guy's a coach at a school that sends players to the NFL, XFL, CFL every year. He's been there for years, and he got a new job recently. But yeah, and I was just like, damn, you never know. It's just crazy. You never know. But then I look at it like that's how I am too. I
Mm-hmm.
admire people, or I respect people's work in a variety of fields or at a variety of levels, and they don't know until I tell them. You never know whose life you're affecting in with the things that you do until they tell you in a lot of instances. So it's like it's just surreal. Every single time, every single time. Because I've never. That's what I'm saying. That's why I look at this XFL opportunity as a way for me to be the guy. That's why I look at it like that, because nobody else has done it before me. Before the people that's doing it now, this is the start. This is fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else has done this. So it's like that's why I look at it as this is my chance to carve my niche out. I'm in the area. I could get to Southwest DC in 20 minutes. I already know about more than half of the players on the team because I scouted them on as a draft guy. I know about Elijah Qualls. I was telling people about Elijah Qualls and why he was going to be good for the Defenders, because I was watching him and I wanted him for the Raiders as the Raiders defensive tackle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's why this moment is so important to me, because I feel like I can make something out of it as one of the first guys. There's a guy named Victor Ford. Victor Ford is the head beat writer for the Raiders. Victor Ford has been there since 1997, I believe, in Oakland. And not only that, he just announced the other day on Twitter that he was going to be following the team to Vegas, right? And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? This is a guy I look up to. And he carries himself like a regular guy. I've already got to meet Vic. You know, I got to have a beer with him and all of that stuff. But that's his rep. He go anywhere in that bay. If Victor Ford walks in a bar in Oakland, and the Raiders ain't been good in years, if Victor Ford walks in a bar in Oakland, he's not paying for no drink. The people know him. He's before Twitter, he was the beat writer. He was the guy that had the byline. He was that guy. That's how I look at it. I'm going to find a way to be that guy of the Defenders. That's my whole mindset. When people talk about the Defenders, and yes, the Defenders are going to be forever unless something majorly drastic happens. They're going to be league number 2 as long as they can sustain it under the NFL. And they should look at it as that's what they really want to be. And that's perfectly fine. But with that being said, I want to be that guy. And I'm looking around, and it's a lot of people out there trying to, make pages, XFL this, XFL that. I'm looking at like, I don't see no competition. I don't see anybody that could come and say they could corner this market like me. I'm looking at it from all aspects. I look at it as the Redskins suck. First of all, the Redskins aren't even in D.C. anymore. They haven't been in D.C. for almost 3 decades. They are in Landover, Maryland. So hardcore D.C. fans, that's why they were out there in droves, because they want a team for D.C., for one. For two, I look at it as those people, I might not personally know half of the players in that locker room, but I know more about them than whoever can Google an article for a week to figure out. I know this because I've been studying it. That's how I look at it, for two. And third, I look at it as because I just want it. I want it more than anybody else. I want to do such a good job with the coverage that I'm doing that somebody says, man, I need you to work for the Redskins. I need you to do this. Can you help me with this? That's what I want, because I bring the passion to it. And I get in trouble with my fiance all the time now, because she'll say, well, you know what I'm saying? I think she used to look at it as, okay, well, why are you always on the phone? Why are you always on the computer late at night? Why you got your back turned in the bed? And I'm over here looking at stats. I'm over here cutting up videos on my phone at 1 o'clock in the morning, so that when I get up in the morning on Twitter, I can make a thread about why Elijah Campbell had a great performance in the Defenders' first game. This is what I love. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And when that light bulb clicked for me, talking to Professor Kemp and just seeing what the possibilities were when we started going on our first trips as a class, and he started having people come in, and other professors started having people come in. Like Professor Robinson was another guy. Professor Robinson worked as a writer for the Bullets transitioning into the Wizards. And I'm like, you know what? It clicked for me. And let me just say this. It clicked for me because when I left Morgan, Brian, I started taking journalism classes, but I didn't even find out until I came back that I was still undeclared in the system. It was something I was playing with, because my mom was a writer before she had me, and it just came natural to me. I was that kid that used to read Sports Illustrated and ESPN, the magazine, and the CBS, and sit in there in the aisle and read the whole magazine till they kicked me out. That was me. I did that every month. I did, that's what I did. And Slam and Double XL and the Vibe and Source. I did that. That's what I did. And I never knew that it was going to click for me and say, oh, I want to be a writer, until it clicked. Once it clicked, that was it. I was on it. I knew what I wanted to do. So I feel like that every single day. Every single day I wake up and say, what can I do to separate myself? What can I do? It's a passion. It really is a passion. I would look at these opportunities and say, damn, I can make something of myself. I can be that guy that people say, wow, this guy he comes up with great stats. How do you find this stuff? And it makes me feel so good when people say that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel so good. Like, wow, you how did you even think of that? What made you think of looking that up or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like the DC Defenders today, I put out a stat. This is the first Monday. This is the start of week 2. I'm thinking, okay, the XFL doesn't even have the official league leader stats up there, but I can look up and say, okay, well, I know that Cardell Jones only played 12 games since high school, and he won all of them, right? And I said, okay, well, what else can I find out? When's the last time he threw a touchdown? He threw 2 touchdowns Saturday. When's the last time he threw a touchdown? Cardell Jones, last time he threw a touchdown was August 18th, 2019, in the preseason game for the Chargers, and that was it. He didn't even he never threw a touchdown in the preseason for the Bills when he was on the bench. These are things that's like, okay, that little tidbit is going to make people interested in me instead of somebody just saying, Cardell Jones looked good coming back for the Defender. It's something different, and it can lead into more. So I'm like, you know what? It's all about carving an niche. And then I'm very proud to be black. So I look at it as the Raiders are one of the most racially progressive and culturally progressive franchises in history. So it made it a lot easier for me to find little stats and tidbits about the Raiders and to put that out there and make myself, stand out from the crowd. I knew that Al Davis had rented a summer home in the Eastern Shore because he was looking at I can't think of his name, Art Shell. That he was looking at Art Shell at Eastern Shore when it wasn't even University of Maryland Eastern Shore. It was it Maryland State College? I can't even think. It's coming back. But I knew that stuff, and people want to know that stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna make a whole month. I'm gonna take Black History Month and dedicate that to letting people know all of the Raiders Black History Month facts. You know what I'm saying? Just anything I can do to separate myself. And that's how I look at it, and that's how everybody should look at it. When you get into this field, especially sports, it's so competitive. It's so cutthroat. It's so hard. It's so difficult. You have to do whatever you can, say whatever you can that's factual to set yourself apart. And that's my goal every single day. And that's why I got into the whole drafting and scouting players. I feel like I watched a lot of college football my whole life, but I felt like, okay, well, let me take that further. I went to an HBCU. I know the hard work these guys put in. Why am I not reporting on HBCU players? Why am I not talking about D2 and D3 players? I don't have to be an NFL scout to do that, to find the hidden gems. This is what I do. I watch football all the time anyway. Why am I not doing this? So I say, you know what? I'm doing that too. I'm not just writing articles about the Raiders. I'm going to tell you why the Raiders need to draft this player, why this player fits the defense. So now it's got to the point where people really expect that from me, and I do it year round. So last year, man, my hustle, man, I up my hustle every year. I take something and I put it out there and I live and learn from it. Last year, I figured out what the Canva app was. I said, you know what? Canva is an app with all the templates to do business cards, graphics, etc. And if you're a journalist listening to this, you need it. Period. Especially for you people that are not really well versed with Photoshop, you need it because you can do stuff on the go. I found out what the Canva app was. I said, you know what? I'm gonna make a draft guide. And the template that I used wasn't even set up to be a draft guide or to be grading players. The template that I used was it's for worksheets for teachers, and I just switched everything out. And I said, you know what, because where would be the worksheet would be grades as in stars like you get in kindergarten and stuff. Instead of whatever was there like English, math, whatever, I put speed, tackling ability, stuff like that. I was making 200 to 300 profiles on my phone, downloading pictures. I'm taking up all my phone space to find players, pictures, and then I'm like staying up all night playing Madden, watching YouTube, etc., trying to find player comparisons to players that's in the NFL or Hall of Fame or whatever. And I put it out last year, and people were like, man, this is great stuff. To the point where people would start donating money to me, like, man, you really worked hard on that. I know it's free, but here's $10 or whatever. So I said, this year, man, I'm going to up my ante. I'm going to actually do it on the computer instead of my phone, and I'm going to go even harder. and I'm gonna put it out for $4.99, and I ended up putting it out for $5.99. But I put that out Saturday, and I've gotten 150 downloads at $5.99 a piece. And that money is going to go towards my car for me to get an oil change before the pro day schedule starts, when I'm going to be traveling all over the East Coast to every school that I can imagine. And that's when you get on your grind again. You email all the schools and athletic directors and say, hey, my name is Maliik Obee. I'm looking to cover the pro day. I represent this publication, or I'm covering this for my YouTube channel. I need a press pass. And some schools have a different process. It's not even, like I said, the importance of the press pass is different for different stuff. I just need to be on the field. I don't even care about the press pass, really. I just need to be able to have the access so that once this guy starts running his 40, I can tell him about how good of a game he had against so-and-so, and try to talk to him and tell him, oh, well, I'm not going to just kiss your butt. I'm going to tell you, I know that this is some things that I saw that you probably are working on, or what are you working on this summer, and then try to get an interview or ask some questions. And I'm doing this so that I can make him comfortable to when I pull my phone out to ask him a question, he's going to answer, because he's already been answering my questions. And that one question I got on my phone is going to go on Twitter. And then the other questions I already asked are going to go in my article. And I've already shown people, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? This guy's there. He's doing it. Man, last year I was traveling. I was just traveling. I wasn't making no money off of going to these pro days. It was just the fact of the matter is that it's like every pro day I go to, every player I meet, every scout I meet, I'm building my network. I'm putting my face out there. I'm letting it be known I'm here, and I'm here to stay. I interview a player, or I'm up there with the crowd waiting to interview whoever the hottest player is at school, and you got to wait 10 minutes for them to shower and all that stuff. I got to think of, on the fly, my question. And then, because I might only get one, because he might have to go. And then I'm listening intently to everybody else's question, because you don't want to be that guy that asks the same thing, or that woman. I'm listening intently, and then after that, I'm trying to see if I can ask my own personal question again, tell them, oh yeah, look out for the question or the interview on to be posted on my Twitter or whatever, because there might be a chance they follow me, or looking at other writers. You know how many times I'll go somewhere to a pro day or anything sports related? Every time I go to a pro day, I'm looking at everybody on the field or in the building's credentials. Every single person. I'm looking at their name. I look at their name. I go on my Twitter. I search the person's name. Even if they got a different name, if they're a professional writer, their name is going to be on their account somewhere. So I'm like, okay, well, who is this? Oh, this person covers the Giants. Oh, let me introduce myself. Well, first off, let me read their stuff for 5 minutes and Google what they do and make sure they're still working for that company or whatever. Oh, Michael, Brian Waters. How you doing? My name is Maliik Obee. I follow you, your stuff. I know you cover the Ravens. I just want to introduce myself, and I know you're on a pro day tour right now. I'm sure you'll be in some other schools along this tour. If you get a chance, anytime I would like to pick your brain. I just followed you on Twitter, so I hope to speak to you soon or whatever. It's just like getting over your fear of talking to a woman. I look at it like that. I mean, just being honest. Like, every time I go to a pro day, that's the first thing I do. It's just like when you walk down the street subconsciously and you look at somebody's shoes or you look at their outfit, you know what I'm saying? I do the same thing. I look at their press pass. It's not to put them above or below anybody else, what they do. It's to say, this person can be added to my network. 9 times out of 10, this person is not going to be an asshole and walk away from me or just be rude. Journalists work damn hard, and they want to feel appreciated too. And I always feel like that I can learn something from these people. You know what I'm saying? And in the same effort that I put to meet the journalists is the same effort that I put to meet the athletic directors and the ladies and gentlemen that's running the tables with your credentials and stuff, because especially at these local schools, because you never know when you're going to run into that person again. And it was a proven test for me. I went to Maryland's pro day last year. I went to see Darnell Savage, who was like a top 5 pick for rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, and he played for Maryland. and I wanted to see him and a couple other guys, and I ended up getting held up at the table because they had spelled my name wrong and stuff, so they couldn't find me and all this stuff. And I'm just talking to the girl there, young lady there, and I'm not raising hell, I'm just being patient and just talking to her, not flirting or nothing like that, but just having a conversation. And from there, I said thank you. She helped me out. She got me in there, and I just thanked her on the way out again. And then I said, well, I'm gonna be back during the season. And, I'm gonna be applying for press passes. I'm gonna be back during the season, and I'll see you soon. I said bye. I didn't know. I remembered her face. I didn't know till I emailed for the press credentials that she was the one that was approving it. Till I seen her face again on her attached to her email profile thumbnail. I'm like, man, and she said, hey, I remember you, Mr. Obee. Woody, woody, woody. Here's your credentials. So I was going to Maryland games. I had Howard credentials. I had to pick on Saturdays. You know what I'm saying? So one Saturday I go to Howard. One Saturday I go to Maryland, just trying to get that access and just trying to build up. So from there, meeting her, I got to meet other people in the building. And then and you never listen. The saying goes, respect the janitor with the same respect. Give the janitor the same respect you give the CEO. I live by that period, but especially in this field, you don't try to pass everybody else to get to the person that you think is at the top. Because a lot of times, in my opinion, the person at the top had to step on everybody else to get there, and sometimes they act like it. But you need to respect everybody in there, because you never know what that person can do for you, and not even what they can do for you, the relationship that you could build with them. You know what I'm saying? You never know outside of sports, just period. You never know. It's some genuinely good people out here, and some genuinely good people for your life, and bring a lot to your life. So that's how I look at it. I look at everybody with an open mind until I have a reason to think otherwise. I, you don't know what you're going to get out of that relationship, that conversation, whatever, that coffee, that whatever. That's how I look at it. That's how people look at it when they go to NABJ and stuff. But I look at that period, and that's how I look at social media too now. You know what I'm saying? It's times where I feel like people say dumb stuff. It's times where people I feel like are narcissistic or too big headed or whatever. But I've learned you don't just go back and forth with people for the sake of it. It's okay to ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep doing what you're doing over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, with that being said, like I said, I just look at it like there's so much to be done out here, so many ways to do it, but you just gotta be willing to try to do it. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, well, definitely, man. So, real quick, the name of the show is called Breaking Through the Glass Ceiling. When did Maliik Obee break through the glass ceiling in his career?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like that I didn't even break all the way through it. I feel like I cracked it, and I pulled the piece out, and I stuck my head through it, and I got blood all over my face, and I pulled my body through it, and I just and I that's how I feel. I feel like that this is I'm just scratching the surface. I really feel like that. And I feel like that for a couple of different reasons. I say that to say it's a blessing to be it, to even have any type of opportunity. I feel like there's people that I went to school with that are trying to figure things out, but they don't have the drive like I have. So they're going at a little bit slower pace. And then I have people that I went to school with that go just as hard, if not harder than me, and they are where they want to be. And it all comes down to what you look at as success. I don't look at what I've got to as success, but I look at it as I'm proud of myself for getting there because I know where I was at. I know that once I dropped out of Morgan, for those 3 years that I was at home, I felt worthless. I felt like I wasn't doing anything. I felt like I was wasting my potential. So every time I do something now, I'm
Mhm.
proud of myself. Every single time I accomplish something, I check something off my book, I feel like I'm proud of myself. Every single time. But I feel like that when it's certain things, and it's not about money, it's not about anything like that. Of course, you want to do something, especially that you're passionate about and feel stable about it financially, but it's not even about that for me. I will feel like I broke through the glass ceiling when I achieve certain things within this franchise or I feel like, okay, let me say this. I feel like I broke through the glass when I can 100% focus on just being in love with football. 100%. Not working another job, nothing like that. I'm talking about are my everyday earnings are reflected off of me just doing what I do in terms of covering football. And when that happens, that's when I feel like I broke through the glass ceiling. Right now, I'm another step closer, and I'm a hustler. I have to do what I have to do regardless. So, if I have to take off work to cover the DC Defenders, then I'm gonna make up for that in another way financially. But it's all gonna pay off in the long run. It's the same way as having a job and saying I want to be a DJ. So if you want to be a DJ and you work at Papa John's, you got to save your money up to get some good turntables. And you got to save a little money up to get a good sound system. Then you got to get some good headphones. Then you got to get some whatever. So that's how I look at it. I'm just getting the pieces. I'm getting everything I need to get put together right now. So I feel like that I've pulled myself up, but I'm gonna break through the whole glass in just a minute. I really feel like that,
Well,
and I feel like
what is the part you felt like you kind of cracked it then? Like what moment?
oh,
Because I mean,
crack.
I mean,
I,
and I get what you're saying as far as not fully reach there, but there has to be a moment where, because we all feel like, okay, I could have arrived, you know what I mean? But
mm-hmm.
when was the moment that kind of made you say, I'm here, I can do this, I am living my purpose?
Okay, so it would have to be. Hmm, that's a good question. I would have to say that moment came when um I was at the combine in 2018. I
Okay.
graduated in 17. I graduated in 17. In 2018, I was at the combine, and I had got credentials, and I was at an event for the combine. I had gotten invited to an event, and I had been I had been to the combine 3 times before that, and I had no clue about these events. I would go to the combine, stay there all day, find something to eat, go back to the hostel or to the hotel, and talk on the phone or whatever, and get ready for the next day, write an article, whatever. I didn't have any idea about these events because I wasn't in the know. I wasn't in the circle. So I went to the combine, and I had gotten invited to an event for writers. And I said, "What?" I got invited to an event for writers. At this time, I was just a freelancer in terms of being paid. I was a freelancer, and everything else I was writing for 3 or 4 different Raiders blogs for free. I got
Mhm.
invited to an event out there, and I went to the event, and they were introducing the writers for each team by table. And all of these guys are there that I follow, that I've been following, that I have newspaper clippings of for every team, especially the Raiders. And on that list, my name was on there. And I said, wow, all of these guys, first of all, that's when I stopped looking at it about money. All of these guys are making 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever they're making, whatever they're making. They have, a lot of people that read their stuff, and I'm here. That means I'm doing the right thing. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And that's when I started looking at it like that. I was like, damn, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. And once I got to that moment, I stopped looking at it over money. I stopped looking at it as this is just something that might pass. I might jump into something else, or I'm not getting nowhere. I'm not making any leeway. When they announced my name, and I had a thing on the table with my name on it as a Raiders reporter, that was it. That's when I said overdrive now. I'm going even harder. I'm going even harder. You know what I'm saying? So that was that moment for me. I should have said that before, but that was definitely the moment for me. I walked out of that place after talking to people for a few hours. I walked out of that place and said, I made the right decision in my life. I am on the way to great things. And I feel like ever since that moment, I turned it up a notch. What else can I do to be even greater?
Amen, brother. So now, what's next? Like, what's the ultimate dream? And the XFL is great.
Hmm.
Is the dream to stay within the XFL, or is the dream to become the official writer for Raiders.com or NFL.com? What's the ultimate dream?
And that's something I've been bouncing back and forth on for years. When you get out of college, you ask yourself questions. Am I ready to move? Am I ready to move to a small market to build my way up? Am I going to just take a chance and go to Hollywood or whatever and just say, sink or swim? What is it? And I have put myself in a position where I say, you know what? I'm taking full advantage of whatever opportunity I see. And I think it's two answers to that. I questioned what the long term would be for the XFL.
Hmm.
And the product that I saw, you got to look. I look at it. I have to be realistic about what I'm seeing. This is, like I said, never going to take over for the NFL. If you look at it as a fan and as a corporation, as a farm league, then it serves its purpose perfectly. You know what I'm saying? It's so many players that they can consistently rotate. Even if players leaving to go to the NFL, keep bringing in players or find ways to hold certain players at the XFL level. And looking at it long term, the money has to go up to keep players and all that stuff. But if they keep the way they went this weekend, they're going to continue to generate revenue. And Vince McMahon is a genius at promotion. So I look at it like that. But with that being said, I feel like that if they can sustain this, I would 100% be happy with saying that I'm that guy in DC for the Defenders. But my ultimate goal forever in life will be to cover the Raiders, now Las Vegas Raiders, to walk into that new stadium in Vegas and head to the press box in that plush press box and say, I have arrived. That when I get on this computer, I'm writing with a purpose of finally achieving my dream, and I'm right here. And when I walk out of that press box and I go downstairs into that locker room, I'm building a rapport with these players that's going to be here for the next 4 years of their rookie contract, with the vets, with the young guys on the practice squad, with the guys that are undrafted, everybody, because I know all their stories because I've done the research.
Hmm.
Every level, I'm gonna do it. That's I don't know. I could say a lot of other stuff, but that's always gonna be the goal for me. That's always gonna be the goal for me. It's just since a little boy, the love I have for the Raiders and everything it represents. Like I said, for me it was Jerry Rice and Tim Brown and Jeff Hostetler and all those guys. And then when I got older and realized everything that the Raiders have done at Al Davis for the Black community, for Hispanics, first Hispanic coach, first Hispanic starting quarterback, first Hispanic coach to win a Super Bowl, first Black quarterback modern history, first a woman in higher office, first lady GM, first everything. First everything was the Raiders. For football and cultural reasons, it means so much to me. You know what I'm saying? And the Raiders have never let me down as a Black man. They stood by Marshawn Lynch. They have Tommy Smith and John Carlos from the '68 Olympics that put the fist up. They have them light the torch every year for Al Davis and been doing that since before he was dead. They stand for so much more than football, and for me, it would be an honor to be able to represent that. And I know that things are going to change a little bit because Vegas it's not as culturally as powerful a place as Oakland, but that shield means so much to me. And I feel like once I get there, because I will, once I get there, then I might have a whole new goal because I will be able to corner that market and to be somebody. And then after a couple of seasons in there, there will be new skies for me. So at this point, that's the ultimate goal. By the time I'm 36, 35, 36 years old, I might have new goals. I might want to, do something else. Because I feel like that I have the wherewithal to say, if I want to learn something, I'm going to do it. I taught myself how to edit videos. I taught myself, man, I taught myself how to do a podcast. I taught myself how to do a lot of stuff. I feel like I could teach myself to do anything if it's going to help me become a better person and live this life to the fullest. And with that being said, there's one thing that I 100% want to do, and that's why I'm in grad school now. And after that, I'm going to get my doctorate. And it's an obligation to me. It's a full commitment. Is that when I turn 40, I'm going back to Morgan and I'm going to be a professor. That's not even a
Okay.
question. That's something that I feel like I owe it to myself and I owe it to the people behind me to do. So, Lord willing, I'm there at 40. I'm here at 40. That's my goal. I'm going to be Dr. Obee because, listen, when you are a professor, I learned this from working in production, in the production office and everything with everybody and talking to all the professors and stuff. I know for a fact I need doctorate money. I need doctorate money. But that's not a question. That's 100% what I'm doing in my life. So that's why right now I'm making the sacrifices that even with all of the football stuff and everything, I find time to do my work. I'm going to finish getting this master's, and then I'm going to go right back and get my doctorate. And when I turn 40, after I take these next 11 years and really, really live life to the fullest and go hard as I can for my dreams, and I'm going to be like the rest of my professors and probably be out in the field still, and being a professor on the side and whatever I have to do, but I'm going to do it. It means something to me.
All right, man. I'm excited for you, because I know in everything that you do, you will be successful. Like I said, we
I
don't get a chance
appreciate
to
that.
talk all the time on the phone, but social media is a beautiful thing. And I just see you
Mm-hmm.
out here grinding, man. And I know what it means. And I just couldn't be happier when I saw that you put that you would be writing for the XFL. I was, personally excited. So, I definitely appreciate you taking the opportunity and time out your busy schedule. And shout out to your fiance as well, because I know she probably like, wait, you always working now? You doing interviews? you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah, so we we
you
just
definitely
literally came back from Hawaii, and that was the one because that's where we got engaged at. And I
okay.
said, you know what, we are not thinking about football at all. And then by the fourth day, we was watching the playoff, and then we was watching the Senior Bowl. But she's very understanding, and she knows that this means so much to me. The same way I really know about all her dreams and goals, and even trying to find new dreams and goals for her. But she know how much this means to me, and she's giving me her full support and love and understanding. If I said tomorrow I don't have a cent, but I need to go to the draft, she's gonna say, okay, I got you. Whatever the case may be. So I'm
That's important.
100%
Hold on
grateful for.
to her.
Yes, sir. I'm 100% grateful for her, and she understands now.
Yeah. Well, real quick before I let you out of here, where can the people find you? Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a lot of questions. Because I mean, you dropped some nuggets and definitely inspiring them. But where can they find you?
Definitely on Twitter at OBEE1, the number one, NE, OB1, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And everything else, just Google my name, Maliik, MALIK, and you can find me on LinkedIn or whatever. Send me a DM. Any type of knowledge, if I can help you, I can, and I will. If I can't, I'll find somebody else that can. I feel like that's another thing about networks. You get to know somebody that does everything or knows something. So yeah, always.
Well, Malik, it's safe to say that you represent the great state or great university known as Morgan State University well. Um,
Thank you. I really
and you
appreciate that.
represent the National Association of Black Journalists well, and most importantly, you represent the Obee family very well, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on,
And
ladies
I
and
definitely
gentlemen.
ready to come back. I'll definitely come back.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have you back, ladies and gentlemen. You know where to find him now. Make sure you give him a follow. Until next time, so long, everybody. All right, let me
All
stop.
right, y'all. Have a good one.
All right, bro. What an incredible episode of breaking through the glass ceiling. Maliik Obee, my Morgan State fellow alum, sharing his story. Next week, I bring on another Morgan State grad, a close friend of Maliik, and that's the one and only Tremone Lucas. Tremone is a digital editor for WBAL right here in Baltimore, Maryland, or as we call it, Channel 11. Well, he comes on to share his story, even mentions Maliik and how they were able to help each other, uplift each other, and be able to have that person that you can confide in, sharing that importance. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Simply download on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, if you haven't done so already, and drop me a 5-star rating. Help me reach the ranks of the podcast world. Till next time, folks, remember, do not let anyone put up a glass ceiling that you can't break. Forever 824. This podcast is brought to you by B. Waters Productions. It is produced and edited by myself, Brian H. Waters, with the music brought to you by Hypnosis. You can find Hypnosis on Instagram at hypno_beats.